Murderer boyfriend Aftab was produced in court today virtually, which then sent him for a further remand of another 5 days. Court has also given the go-ahead for the narco test to be performed on Aftab. But a week after this horrific crime came to light, the fact remains that the police have very little in terms of evidence that will stand in a court of law. No murder weapon, no motive, no eyewitnesses, no accomplices. Will the case against Aftab hold up in a court of law?
Gruesome, bloodthirsty, brutal. You will recall all these words once you learn about the spine-chilling details in the Shraddha murder case. The latest information accessed via sources by CNN News18 reveals how Aftab disposed of Shraddha's body after he strangled her. After buying the knife, fridge and all the chemicals, Aftab removed Shraddha's internal organs as they had started to decompose. He did this to avoid the foul smell, which would have raised suspicions in the neighborhood. Aftab then collected all her organs in a plastic bag and threw them in a garbage dump. The police believes that most of Shraddha's internal organs were either decomposed completely or they were eaten up by stray animals.
The Delhi police came here and conducted the search operation for 6 to 7 hours today itself, and it is also expected that these search operations like these would be carried out in this entire forest area, because remember, this is a massive forest land. Approximately 5 to 7 kilometers of land comes under this forest, and it is practically impossible to search the entire forest in one day and do a thorough search.
Not only this, Aftab also burned Shraddha's face after dismembering her body to conceal her identity. Sources reveal that Aftab confessed to the police that he searched on the internet of ways to dispose of a dead body after murder. There's only been a minor breakthrough in the investigation so far. The police have recovered a femur bone from the Chhatarpur forest area. The bone also has some injury marks and has been sent for forensic examination, but it is yet to be ascertained if the bone was part of Shraddha's body. The police have also identified the vehicle which was used by Aftab to dispose of Shraddha's clothes. 2 spots have also been narrowed down where Aftab could have possibly dumped her clothes.
We also heard from certain police officials that they are investigating this entire area based on what Altaf had told them from the last 2 days. Altaf was brought to this very crime scene where he had given certain information to the police official as to where he had thrown those body parts of Shraddha.
These latest details will surely leave you shell-shocked and may even leave you puzzled that why Aftab did all these things to the woman who left everything just to be with him.
All right, I want to go across to our guest. Dr. Mahabalesh Shetty is a forensic expert. We'll be joined by Dr. Jayanti Datta, clinical psychologist. Shashikant, former DGP of the Punjab Police. Shashank Shekhar Jha is a Supreme Court lawyer. Dr. Shetty, let me start with you first. So far, it's been a week since this case came to light. It's been 6 months since this murder, this brutal, gruesome murder happened. The police don't seem to have anything. Even the forensic evidence, so-called forensic evidence that they have recovered and that they've sent to FSL now, we're given to understand the very minimum time that the labs will take is 2 weeks.
No, good evening, everybody. No, whatever forensic evidence they got from the scene, wherever he is disposed, I came to hear just now that they got a femur. Is it right?
Yeah, that's true. That's what the police are claiming, that a femur bone has been recovered and it's been sent for
femur
FSL
bone
analysis.
is supposed to be one of the best source of DNA after skull. So I think in given that femur bone, you can tell whether it is a male or female, whether it is an antemortem injury or a postmortem injury, or what is the height of the person. So many things can be known from the particular bone.
But tell me, Dr. Shetty, from these 10 pieces that have been recovered, and obviously it's been 6 months old, we don't know in what state it is, but these 10 pieces have been sent to the FSL for further investigation. My question to you is, many of them happen to be bones. How easy or difficult are bone structures for forensic analysis?
Yeah, when it's a putrefied body, usually we trust only bones. We don't go by the organs or muscles because it's already putrefied or autolyzed.
Okay.
So usually when the fresh body, then it is about the muscle. When it's a putrefied body, it is only the bones or the teeth. The best part is they have to search for the teeth, so that it's a good source of DNA. And usually it takes time, because they have to first prove it that it belongs to a human body. Only
no,
once
not just that. Now we are given to
yeah.
understand that Aftab reportedly, we don't know, this is what the cops are claiming, that he reportedly burnt Shraddha's face. But let me ask Shashikant, as a former DGP, it's been 1 week since this case came to light. So far, no murder weapon, no motive, no accomplices, no eyewitnesses. What does the police have? What do they have in terms of evidence that will stand in a court of law, Mr. Shashikant?
Well, it's right now, it's a very difficult situation. All that police has is circumstantial evidence. No hard evidence is still there. They have not found the murder weapon, body, anything to link this guy with the deceased.
Correct.
And I'm sure that they must be conducting forensic tests on the refrigerator. If that might be something which might be able to connect them, because that fridge is in his room and it has Shraddha's DNA, that might be one of the things. But yes, unfortunately, till now, all that we have is circumstantial evidence, and we have to work hard. Police has to work very hard on it to get it, because maybe they'll have to check up the dump data. Dump data again is about 3 months. They keep it, and then it's sometimes it's not available. And whosoever was coming there, and it's a really shocking case, gruesome case, and a case where right now, till now, the police only has circumstantial evidence, nothing more, sir. Thank you.
And the thing is that, you know, we've seen in cases in the past, relying just on circumstantial evidence, where there are no witnesses or accomplices to a murder, it becomes very, very difficult. Look at the Arushi case, for example, the Tandoor case. These are all cases that became very, very difficult to prove in a court of law. Let me ask Dr. Jayanti Datta. Today there were also reports, like I said a moment ago, that he reportedly, you know, severed the skull of Shraddha Walkar and then burnt her face. Now, I want to know, if he's burnt her face, what does it say about his psychological sort of state of mind? And secondly, I mean, if you're burning something, if you're burning human flesh and bone, how come nobody in the neighborhood, and even if he burnt it in the forest, how come it did not leave a trace at all? I mean, a fire does leave smoke behind, it does leave some kind of evidence behind. Somehow no one seems to know.
No, but I think what I saw from other interviews, that I've been following this case through media, of course, that the burning probably took place in the house. He would not risk taking out the full face out, because he used to keep and watch on the face. Now, what I gathered, again, my information is through media, that he was bringing girls into the flat even after murdering her, after chopping her body. I think it's high time the Delhi police should find out at least these girls are surviving. These girls who had relations with him after the murder, they should follow it up. Now, you said motive. Motive, certainly they have. When these hardened criminals conduct or commit these kind of crimes, gruesome crimes, they certainly have a motive. You see the finance, see the money, see the kind of, you know, his agility with which he's moving around, and he's enjoying everything what he is doing. Certainly somewhere he had the motive, and
no, but
that
ma'am, the motive to
like
murder has to stand in a court of law. Simply saying we had a fight and therefore I decided to kill her.
No.
That is not going to stand in a court of law.
No, I think it should, because you see, there is a sequential circumstantial evidences. One adult female with whom you were staying, you have all of a sudden she disappears. You find the acknowledgement by the partner that yes, I've done this. I think the murder weapon also, there's been interviews that the person who sold it to him, that has been established. Refrigerator where from he bought has been established.
You have to get the weapon, ma'am. It doesn't. He can turn around and say that, you know, show me the proof that I bought the weapon. In fact, the chainsaw owner, the shop owner, said he didn't recognize his face. It was 6 months ago. Roz to 1000 customer aate rehte hain. But my question point is, I take one point that you made, which is that if there are other girls who were brought to his house after this murder happened, surely the police's first job would be to find out who
Yes,
these people
yes.
are and bring them in
In-
and see if
interrogate
they can
from them.
be
And
witnesses or
one thing more.
they can testify in a court of law. But let me
No.
go across to Shashank Shekhar Jha as well. Today the situation was so bad in the court of law in the Saket court where he was supposed to be produced. Lawyers were apparently gearing up to even beat him while he was being produced, that today he had to be virtually produced, and the police have managed to get another 5 days of remand. Again, I come back to this simple and a very moot question that in Indian law, if cases, murder cases, such heinous crimes have no eyewitnesses or accomplices, then simply based on circumstantial evidence, it's very difficult to prove in a court of law.
Namaste. I guess the case of Shraddha is very dangerous and very disheartening. Now, to answer your question, yes, that is true that in the lack of other evidences apart from circumstantial evidence and the lack of witnesses, it is difficult for the police or the investigation agencies to prove the case. And that is why we should follow the procedures followed by other Western countries, for example, US or Europe. There are a number of such examples where they can prove prove their cases before the court of law. And how do they do that? They prove the motive, they prove the accomplice, and they find out the pattern. Now in this particular case, the motive should be cleared out, and that can be done through narco test, which fortunately the court has allowed today. The second thing is that the accomplices should be find out. Now I'm sure that you must be knowing that the police are also investigating and trying to connect with those 20 other girls as well as other people who this Aftab was connected with. And third is the pattern. That is very important. In such heinous crimes, it is very impossible for one person to actually murder someone and then cut her into 35 pieces and then destroy the evidences. So I don't think that can be done with one person without having any other support system. So the pattern must be looked upon, and this case must be dealt in such a scenario that a watertight, airtight investigation should be done in order to get a conviction.
Okay.
Remember, there are n number of cases where you have such a statement from the accused, but they get acquitted later on because of the fact that you cannot corroborate those circumstantial evidences with real life evidence.
Look at what happened in
So
the
this
Chawla case. It went
watertight.
up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the prosecution has not done a good job. But anyway, let me just play out this short clip of a phone interview that News 18's Anand Tiwari did with the FSL director Deepa Verma. This is what the FSL director had to say in response to the Aftab case.
ये जो केस हुआ है दिल्ली में, इस तरह के केस आपने पहले आपकी इन्वेस्टिगेशन में देखे हैं या आपके लिए रेयर ऑफ द रेयर है ये केस?
हमारी लेबोरेटरी इस तरह के केसेस में हमारा डायरेक्ट कोई रोल नहीं होता है, लेकिन हमारे पास मर्डर से रिलेटेड जो केसेस रहते हैं इस तरह के एग्जिबिट एग्जामिनेशन के लिए आते हैं लैब में, जो हमारी टीम वहाँ पर जाकर विजिट करती है, जितने भी एविडेंसेस वर्क होते हैं उसको कलेक्ट करने में वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन की हेल्प करती है. तो जो एग्जिबिट के इंडिविजुअल डिटेल है वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन ही आपको बेहतर बताएगी, क्योंकि ये एविडेंस कलेक्शन जितना भी रहा है वो उनका कॉन्फिडेंशियल पार्ट है और उसमें क्या एग्जामिनेशन होने चाहिए केस की थ्योरी के हिसाब से, इसका डिसीजन वही लोग करेंगे. हालांकि हमारे पास एग्जामिनेशन की हर तरह की सुविधा उपलब्ध है, तो हम जिस तरह का भी एग्जामिनेशन उनकी तरफ से रिक्वेस्ट आएगी विल डू दैट. जनरली जो बोन सैंपल भेजे जाते हैं उसमें डीएनए एक्सट्रैक्शन में थोड़ा समय अधिक लगता है और फिर ये भी डिपेंड करता है कि उसमें डीएनए की क्वांटिटी कितनी है, इस तरह का जो उसका बोन मटेरियल है वो किस तरह का है, उसमें हमें लाइव कितना समय कितना डीएनए एक्सट्रैक्ट हो पाता है. तो ये हमेशा इस तरह के केसेस चैलेंजिंग होते हैं, पर ये हाई एक्सपर्टीज हम लोगों के पास है, तो इस तरह के केसेस हमने किए हैं और वी हैव दैट कैपेबिलिटी टू एग्जामिन. ये तो सैंपल आने के बाद ही पता चलेगा कि कितना समय किस तरह के एग्जामिनेशन, और एक डीएनए एग्जामिनेशन के लिए केस आता है या और भी जो सपोर्टिव एविडेंसेस होते हैं केस के लिए, जैसे साइबर रिलेटेड एग्जिबिट्स हुए या फिर किसी और तरह का टेस्ट हुआ, साइकोलॉजिकल टेस्ट हुए, ये सब हर केस का जो लगने वाला समय है वेरी करता है.
Okay, let me go across back to Shashikant, former DGP. You know, the court has today granted narco analysis test to be performed on Aftab. Aftab has also given his consent. The question, though, is narco analysis is not admissible as evidence in court. But how does narco analysis help the police in this investigation?
Yeah, you're right, absolutely. Narco analysis, that test is not really admissible in the court. But what is important is that in course of those, during the course of that talk that a person has with the guy who's being tested,
Yeah.
something comes up where he had gone, with whom you had gone, because what police is looking for is certain material, solid evidence, certain other persons, individuals with whom he might have got in touch with whom he might have discussed it, talked about it, his own background, whether he had done any such thing before he met Shraddha. So all these aspects are very important. Yes, not admissible, but it is the most important single guide for the police investigation in what direction it should go. It's very important that way. Yes, thank you.
Uh, how easy or difficult would it be? Let me ask Dr. Shetty, especially in the case of people who are exhibiting almost schizophrenic kind of personality traits. In this case, clearly Aftab had some kind of a split personality issue. How easy or difficult or reliant, most importantly, would a narco analysis be? I mean, if he is lying in real life, surely he will lie in narco analysis also.
See, deception detection test technique is not a new technique, it's an old technique.
Yeah.
So the only thing here is that his imagination is neutralized here. He is taken to a trance unless he is a drug addict or alcoholic, then it will be difficult. Otherwise, definitely narco analysis will help the investigating officer to recover the material objects. So that is a paramount importance here. It's definitely under 23 of the Constitution. It's not acceptable in the Supreme Court or any of the court in India, but it will help to detect the material objects, where he has thrown the bone, where is the weapon, all those things.
No, but
so
he is being taken to these places. He was taken to the Chhatarpur forest, I think, on a couple of occasions over the last 2 days. He has reportedly told them where he has disposed of the body and its remains. But like I said, that has not helped. That has not helped the police so far.
No, it will help. It will help. I'll tell you just an add-on. See, men may lie, women may lie, but circumstantial evidence will never lie. So most of the convicted cases in India as of today is based only on circumstantial evidence, because this direct evidence will become hostile most of the time. The scientific evidence and circumstantial evidence, as per my knowledge, where I have been a prosecution witness for more than 400 convictions, all this is based on, most of the cases are based on circumstantial evidence.
Shashank he wants to make a point. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little bit disagreement on this. See, I don't believe that only circumstantial evidence can lead to a conviction. In Chawla case, even after Chawla's case verdict, former CGI UI Lalit Sahab has clearly stated that merely having circumstantial evidence cannot lead to a conviction, because you need to have other evidentiary evidence. Correct. And that is why I am focusing on these three aspects, which are very clear: motive, accomplices, and pattern. If you go through these three things, and if you have a watertight case with all those scientific temperaments which we can have, for example forensic, for example say narco, and etc., I guess that can help us. And also we need to understand that like I said, that this case cannot be done, this crime could not be done by one person. So if we could find more people around Aftab, and so there could be a chance that those persons are the witnesses of the incident, may not be for the murder but for the other incidents, for example cutting the body, etc. So I guess
I want to ask Dr.
Jayanti
Datta, cutting of a human body into 30 odd pieces, storing it in a refrigerator, disposing those pieces one by one at 2 a.m. in the morning for a period of 3 weeks. Surely he could not have done this alone. That is the thing that is absolutely befuddling. How come there are no accomplices to this crime? Dr. Jayanti Datta.
Oh, you asked me?
Yeah.
All right. Now, narco, when you give the sodium pentothal, and if the dose is right, yes, see, investigations with these kind of hardened criminals is always a challenging task. But your motive would certainly be clearer when he undergoes the narco, right? And as I said, the events, you see, the circumstantial evidences, if you link it together using of her credit card, why did he do it? Now, mind you, this boy was going out this boy was keeping in touch with the outer world in spite of killing this girl. And I've been asking today one more new question, that in what circumstances he left the girl in the flat and she never raised any hue and cry. Definitely there must have been some kind of a oppressive maneuveration where he had left her. He used to go out and he was confident. He was coolly interacting with everybody. Now we must find out who all were in close connection with him, with whom all he interacted. If you can catch them and they also come up with something that, this is what he was doing. Now he was having party, he was celebrating. Who all were there? Who were his friends? Now, if you give
let me ask Shashikant that. Shashikant, you've seen many a criminal in your long and illustrious career. Have you seen a criminal who does a murder like this, cuts up a dead body and puts it inside his fridge, and then he is living his life as normal, and none of the people have any suspicion? Surely somebody's antennas would have been raised by his behavior.
You're right.
Number of
I don't remember.
Shashikant. The question is to Shashikant. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I don't think that I've seen any such case of this kind of such gruesome case. And that's why I've been insisting on the digital data, because circumstantial coupled with digital data and the scientific analysis might help. And again, I'm sure that it's another reflection. I'm sure that if the police checks up with the neighbors, and though I'm told that there was no beat patrolling, no nothing, and the police or the neighbors were totally unaware of this particular happening, I don't believe that. I don't buy that theory. No way. I'm sure that there are some persons who might have smelled something, some smell coming out, some stink coming out, some fights going on, some brawl is going on. I refuse to believe that nobody knows about it.
But Shashikant, if police were to try and trace his cell phone, trace Shraddha's cell phone, look at their call data records, etc., would that be available and would that be of any use in proving this crime?
Immensely. That's why I've been talking all the time about this scientific data, scientific investigation, and dump data means that all the data which is stored in the local area, and it's difficult. It takes long time to decipher that kind of data. Who all were coming there? He took his cell phone, her cell phone, and dumped it somewhere. It'll come out from there that where exactly he had dumped that phone, location thereof. It is all within it, about 20 feet yard this way or that way, 20 yards this way or that way, that the data can, dump data can lead them to. I don't know why they have not.
Let me go to Dr. Shetty. Again, I come back to that point about burning the face. I'm amazed how what that signifies or what that portends in terms of the state of his mind. But more importantly, if he has burnt her face, how come the neighbors did not pick it up? How come there was no smell? I mean, it's human flesh and blood we're talking about. You burn it, there will be a smell.
No. I have seen one case, particularly one whole body was burnt in a homa kunda, what you call it, where they do homa.
Okay.
See, there are many cases I have seen this particular thing. The first thing what they do in this particular case, what he has done is he has cut the vessels. The whole blood has been washed away.
Okay.
So after that, he started butchering the body. Another thing, what he has burnt is he has put the exhaust fan on and then he has burnt.
Okay. You're saying that will not then reveal a smell or foul air or anything?
No, it won't be there at about 11:30, 12 and all. It's a small piece of thing he must have burnt. He has butchered about 35 pieces. So that includes even the skull. Skull may be one. That also he must have cut into
I'll give Shashank Shekhar the final word. As a lawyer and from a legal standing, 1 week on without a murder weapon, without a motive, without accomplices, witnesses, how easy or difficult is it going to be to prove this case in a court of law?
I guess it will be very difficult for the police or the investigative agencies to prove it before the court of law. But I guess when a few states like UP has brought anti-jihad law, which they said in order to curb love jihad, there were protests. But while there were multiple PILs also filed against the same law, I was the one who filed an intervention, and while filing that intervention, I came across at least 35 cases in which there were multiple source of international fundings in cases of interfaith religious
no, so let me just stop you there.
So
you know, we repeatedly asked, just give me 1 second. We repeatedly asked the Delhi police, is there any conversion angle here, forced angle here, is there any love jihad angle here? And they were very, very clear that this is the murder of a psychopathic murder done by a psychopathic character. There is no love jihad angle here. I think this is, I think we'll leave it to the investigating agency to decide on that. For the moment, I want to thank all our guests. We'll see how the story plays out. Like I said, this is a case of an individual murder without any weapon, without any motive, without any accomplices and witnesses, at least 1 week on. It looks increasingly difficult that the Delhi police will be able to produce enough evidence, material evidence, that will stand in a court of law. We'll see, and we wish them well, because at the end of the day, no killer, and certainly if this person has done this gruesome killing in the manner in which the police claim that he has, then he should be brought to book and he should face the harshest of harsh punishment. That's a wrap. In a moment, Anusha joining you with the biggest news.
Pakistan is ordering terrorists to threaten Indian journalists in Kashmir. This is another sign of desperation. Messages being put out, social media propaganda, which now CNN News18 has access.
Russia launching a series of missile strikes. The Ukrainians claim up to 100 missiles hit Ukrainian targets. That's why the